Radio. It's extremely rare occasions that I will do this kind of live stream, but there's a there's a reason why I want to do this live stream because it's bothering me a lot because of many reasons. We're gonna go through these reasons. We're going to go through speculations. We're going to go through evidence. We're going to go through everything that we've seen so far over the last 10 days. And shall I just say, it's probably not even the last 10 days that we have seen. We haven't really seen everything in the media for the last 10 days. It's been more sort of the last 7 to 8 days where the media has really taken notice of this disappearance. So in a nutshell, Nicola Bulley, 45-year-old, has quite literally disappeared into thin air. And when I say she's disappeared into thin air, there's no decent explanations to why there has been very, very little evidence about her disappearance. So the whole point of this live stream is to basically just talk about what we know, what we don't know, and speculate on where the hell she is. Because it's quite common to hear dog walkers finding, bodies. And these are people that have been reported missing for months and months, and it's never ever hit the mainstream media like this one has. And then we've got people that disappear that have no evidence, or people that do disappear and there is evidence and they get found, whether dead or alive, we don't know. But what's weird about this is many different things, and the speculation of what has really actually happened here is quite interesting, and it's something that's been bothering me for many days now. Because let's face it, we live on this planet in the year 2023, and it's very, very difficult to go missing without a single trace. So if anybody's on the stream who wants to put their oar in, wants to say anything or ask questions or anything like that, we'll talk about it. But for now, what we're going to do is we're just going to start off with a video to explain to everybody exactly what is going on with this case, why it's so weird, and it will give us a little bit of an insight into all of the facts that we know for sure are completely true and maybe false as well. And we'll go from there, and I'll probably pause these videos to talk about certain points a little bit more in detail during. So we're going to just start off with the mysterious case of Nicola Bulley. So she went missing on the 27th of January. We're now on the 7th of February, and actually there are no leads to where she's gone. The police have released a public statement believing that she fell into the river. And there's a lot of people that don't believe it, and there's a lot of people that do believe it. Nevertheless, we'll talk about it.
So in this video, we're going to take a look into the disappearance of mother of two, Nicola Bulley. This lady went missing on January the 27th this year whilst walking her dog, and her disappearance currently still remains a mystery. Firstly, we're going to start off with a short newspaper article to bring everyone up to speed on the current developments concerning this case, and then we're going to hear from a forensic expert who seems to have a rather different opinion of what may have happened to this lady compared to that of the police and the current investigation. This is then going to be followed by some of my own thoughts and theories on where we stand with this case thus far.
A week ago, Nicola Bulley dropped her children off at school in the Lancashire village of St Michael's on Wyre and headed on foot along Blackpool Lane with her dog called Willow. Along this fairly busy road, she would have walked past the parish church before making her way over this footbridge which leads to the path by the River Wyre. Nicola began walking east along this path at around 8:43 a.m. Lancashire police say at 8:47 a.m. the mother of two bumped into another dog walker, seen here on CCTV in a red coat, on the lower field. Officers say the pair knew each other and their dogs interacted briefly before the woman, who they've now spoken to, left the field a short time later via the river path. 6 minutes later, at 8:53, Nicola used her phone to send her boss an email. And at 9:01 a.m, she joined a work Teams conference call.
So I'm pausing the video for a specific reason. We know that these are facts. We know for a fact that she joined that conference call. These are digitally logged events that we know for a fact are absolutely accurate to the time of what we call net. Every single person's phone in the UK, as soon as it strikes 9:01 a.m, every single other phone in the UK will also strike 9:01 a.m. The timing is absolutely precise, right? So
9 minutes later at 9:10, a second witness who also knows Nicola saw her, but this time on the upper field, and still with her dog Willow. The dog was off the lead and it wasn't in its harness, which officers say wasn't unusual and was all part of her daily routine. That was the last confirmed sighting of the 45-year-old. Police say they are particularly interested in what happened between then and 9:20 a.m. because they believe her phone was on this bench at 9:20. At 9:30, the work conference call ended, but Nicola's phone remained dialed in.
Okay, so the phone was found on the bench. Harness for the dog nearby. Doesn't specifically tell us literally the exact location of where that harness was. We don't know whether that dog harness was dirty. We don't know whether that dog harness was wet. We don't know whether that dog harness was simply placed there. We don't know what type of dog harness it was. We don't know whether it was a retractable harness or one that is just quite literally just wound up. We don't know those details. Those are quite intricate details about the whole thing, but nevertheless they're details that obviously the police know about, which we don't. If the harness was wet, for example, and the dog was found wet, we know that the dog had entered the river. Maybe whether the harness was a two-part harness, whether it was a part of a lead, a retractable lead, and the dog was wearing another part of the harness, like the sort of, the vest type harness that you can get for these dogs. We don't know whether the dog was wearing one of those and whether that was wet or dry. We don't know any of that either, so we'll just keep that in mind.
Nicola's dog Willow was found by a witness at 9:33, running between this gate to the field and the bench where the phone was located. At the same time, Willow's harness was also discovered on the grass between the bench and the river's edge.
Search.
Okay, so first comment there. The phone was found where the first white dot on your screen is. Yes, I know. But the issue that I have is that when the phone was found, was it placed there as a decoy, or was it dropped? Was it dropped in a struggle, or was it dropped because of a rushed moment? That would indicate to me immediately that she did not enter the river, accidentally or not, because she was on a conference call that remained dialed in, and the last thing she's going to do is quite literally throw her phone on the floor to
Each team
to
have
enter the
examined
river.
the river all the way
Anyway.
to the sea, which is 9.3 miles away, after Lancashire Constabulary said they believe Miss Bulley fell in. The river, which winds through the countryside on the edge of St Michael's on Wyre, has been described as notoriously dangerous at this time of year by a representative of St Michael's Angling Association.
Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to swap to Google Earth right now. And this is the location that's shown on Google Earth of basically where she's gone missing and what we've just seen on that video. So what I can tell you about what I see here, I've never visited this area. So let's just get our head around some things here. This is a really small town. That's the first thing that we need to sort of get into our heads here. We'll just zoom out. I mean, this is a remote, small town about 9 to 10 miles away from the coast. Not too far. I mean, if just zoom out, you can see the beaches, okay? The thing that bothers me is that out of all these houses and all of these places and all of that, there is not going to be all that big amounts of CCTV at all. I mean, you're going to have residential houses here, which will probably have like a Ring doorbell. Maybe the main road has got a traffic camera that the police can access. But I absolutely guarantee to you that there is no CCTV anywhere here. None at all. Now, this place here looks like a pretty big place, you know. It's quite a valuable place, and I wouldn't be surprised if that there's CCTV there, but let's face it, it's looking the opposite direction because you want, you know, people coming up that driveway. You're not going to have any CCTV on these lower upper fields here. So this here is what they are calling the upper field, okay? But what I want to do is bring your attention to the river. So, for example, the maximum river width between sort of here and here, and let's just zoom out again so we know which way the flow is. So we know that the river is definitely flowing there from the east to the west. If anything enters that river, albeit a body, in my opinion and forensics opinion, a body, and I hate to say this, but a fresh body would never be able to travel down such a windy river, which is less than 20 feet in width, with these types of, you know, meanders and curves, and they say that the depth was pretty dangerous at this time of year. But with all due respect, from somebody from experience that's jumped into the River Severn during winter to swim to the other side, this is nothing. And she was wearing clothes which were not woolen. They're not loosely fitted clothes. She was wearing sort of tight fitted clothes, sort of tight skinny jeans, etc. It's not going to massively impede on the ability to swim unless you're unconscious, which is a whole different story. And that's something that we should probably speculate at a later time, if I'm honest with you. So what we'll do is just go back to these videos and I'll check these comments.
The combination of the depth and how cold it is at this time of year makes it very dangerous, the representative told The Times. A sign on a tree near the bench where Miss Bulley's phone was found reads, "Danger, deep water."
Okay, so we've got two different stories. So some people believe that the phone was found not near the bench, and a lot of people believe that the phone was found on the bench. But the police have confirmed that the phone was found on the bench, literally on the seating panel of the bench, but the dog harness was near the bench, but not on the bench. It wasn't tied to the bench or anything like that.
Big rocks can be seen jutting out of the river, which appears calm at the sharp drop below the bench where Miss Bulley's phone was found. Superintendent Riley told reporters on Friday, at the point where the bench is located, there is quite a steep drop to the river. Albeit not high, it is steep. Therefore, while I don't want to speculate as to what may have happened, it is our working hypothesis that she has entered the water accidentally. She continued, the dog was off the lead. This was normal for the dog to run about, and Nicola was on a Teams call, which again it would be normal for her not to participate in actively and just have the phone to listen in.
Okay, so I'm just going to quickly pause the videos to pay attention to some of the comments that I'm just reading right now about the caravan park. So this is interesting. So the caravan park nearby had CCTV which was facing somewhat near the bench. Even sort of high definition CCTV cameras, now operable or not, would struggle to be able to see that bench and her location. That's the first thing that I have to say about that. The other comment about the dog is suspect. So yeah, this is something that I'll probably believe. The police have already said that the dog was not wet. So the dog had not entered the river. So hypothetically, let's say the dog entered the river and struggled to get out, and she went in to try and help the dog out of the river and then got caught up in the river herself. Fair enough, that's something that's completely possible, I suppose. But with all due respect, I don't believe that this river is has a violent enough current for it to be an issue for her to be able to get out, unless again she is unconscious when she's either entered the river or just entered the river. So and the CCTV on the caravan park was not working, so that is a bit suspect to me. Do we know when the last time that CCTV was working? Had it cut out the day before she went missing? We don't know this stuff.
Anything could have happened with the dog whereby Nicola may have gone, and I don't wish to speculate, we don't know, but it is possible the dog was loose and off the lead, and there may have been an issue with the dog that led her to go near to the water's edge.
As I was just saying, totally possible, and it is absolutely normal in a little remote area like that to let your dog off a lead, especially it being a spaniel, because they need a good run around, right?
She puts the phone down momentarily and Nicola may have fallen in. That is a possibility, Superintendent Riley added. She confirmed Miss Bulley can swim, but said searchers have been both wading in the River Wyre and diving beneath the surface due to the different water depths, though no conclusive evidence has been recovered as of yet.
Okay, with water as calm as what I've seen so far on the news and from past images of this area, calm water at the depth that you can wade in, and let me just say you can wade in, that is waist and below level. You're going to identify a body. And also, if she has entered that river accidentally, there will be somewhat signs of an accident, whether it be marks from her shoes slipping, or see, this is another subject that we'll get onto shortly, and to why the police have not gone down to a fibre level to see if there are fibres from her hair or her clothes or anything similar around the area that she could have possibly have entered that river, because they will be present if they exist.
I've worked on hundreds of these cases. We deal with them for the police across the whole of the southeast. We're the official dive team for the police across the southeast. The amount of searching that's gone on in this river, I would have thought she would have been found by now. Look, normally when a person drowns, if they are left a number of days, we've dealt with, say, many of these incidents, and they don't move very far. This is not a fast tidal river, so I would have expected her to be found by the police divers by now. Apparently sonar's been used, but that's only as good as the equipment or the operator using them. We could have scanned this river with our equipment within a day and seen if there was a body there. It's as clear as that. And none of this rings right to me. My belief is she's not in the river at all.
Okay, so this guy is head honcho of a dive-in search team that have got impeccable results from finding and getting results from victims that have probably drowned in rivers. And unfortunately, lakes, as we probably know from the media, back at Christmas time with the boys kicking footballs over the frozen lake, there is 100%, I do believe that the equipment that this guy has to his disposal is much, much more advanced than what the police have, which is a government-funded thing. This is a private team which have technology which is by far much more powerful, and the frequency that their sonar works at is so precise that they would absolutely find a body in this river over a 20-kilometre stretch, or let's just say 20-mile stretch. Without doubt, they will find it. Whether it's 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet underwater, or even just hidden underneath the sides of the riverbank, which is a common thing that you can see where the undercurrent has sort of cut out the underneath of the riverbank, which can secrete things like maybe bodies. We don't know, but they would absolutely find that. Let me just check these comments, guys. Just bear with me a second. The body would stay still for 8 days. It would definitely sink and stay still. The current would not be enough on this type of river to carry a body downstream. I hate to talk about this kind of stuff, but let's be realistic about this. But we are now 10 days into the search. Let's hypothetically say that she actually did go in the river on the day she went missing. By now her body would have bloated and floated. Sick to say, but it is true.
An awful lot of people are coming up with their own thoughts as to what has actually happened here. You're a forensic expert. Taking all the clues that you are aware of, what are the conclusions that you would draw from what has possibly happened here?
I personally think this phone either could be a decoy. I mean, we dealt with a drowning a couple of years ago where a gentleman went into a river in Ripley. His dog was screaming by the riverbank when we got there, when we arrived, and it was howling and literally pointing exactly where he was. He stayed with his owner. And the phone on the bench, I mean, normally someone would have a phone in their hand and if they, walking around if she was making a call. Look, Nicola knew this area, and even the clothing, no one spoke how deep the water is actually at the bottom of the bank where it went in. I've heard rumours it's 18 inches deep at the edge. I mean, and the clothing she was wearing was not woolly clothing that absorbs water quickly. She seems a very fit person. Why were there no screams? Why were there no marks? And what I am surprised about is that the area hasn't been sealed off as a crime scene or for forensics. People have been walking past the bench. There's no police tape up. This would normally be sealed off as a crime scene. So potentially CSI, crime scene investigators, can go in and see if there's any microfibers, evidence, slip marks down the bank. And I don't believe that has actually happened here.
So this is something I said a couple of minutes ago. There would definitely be sort of fibres of some sort which could be detected. We do have the ability to detect fibres smaller than the width of a hair, whether it be 1 metre or 100 metres away from what they would class as a crime scene. But the issue that I have here with the police is that they've not actually cordoned off the area as a crime scene and allowed so many people to come and look for her, which would basically just destroy this evidence. And I just don't think that is the right approach, because it was an incident that's happened next to the river. I feel as though that the police have immediately thought that she'd gone into the river before they've publicly announced that. So they thought, oh, well, she's gone into the river and there's a victim of an accident and she's fallen into the river. Why do we need to cordon off the fields? Why do we need to do this? Why do we need to do that? When I think now they're going to kick themselves in the ass, quite literally, when this guy and his team, as they've done today, and gone in with this really powerful technology to search the river, to find that she's not there, for the police to just twiddle their thumbs and think, well, if they can't find her, then neither will we. And we've got to come to terms with that and think of other possibilities.
What about... Sorry, I was just going to say, because loads of people emailed in yesterday about Fitbits. We know she was wearing a blue-banded Fitbit, and people are saying, well, can't that be used? Now, admittedly, older Fitbits don't have GPS tracking and things, they just log steps. But there is at least a possibility, isn't there, that could reveal some information?
Probably, Stephen, it's not my field, so I won't comment on that. But there's a lot of information stored on digital things. But at the end of the day, Nicola was last seen in the top field.
So before this guy goes off subject about the Fitbit, because he's about to talk about something completely different, the presenter talks about the Fitbit. Now, this is quite important. So we know that she was wearing a Fitbit watch. Now, from my experience with a Fitbit, you need to have that connected via Bluetooth to your phone for it to be able to transfer the data and then upload it to the cloud or to your account or whatever that is, for it to then be accessible anywhere or by anyone. Which makes me believe that in some respects, somebody with a bit of intelligence that may have done a bad deed and used her phone as a decoy by placing it somewhere, potentially knew that she was wearing a Fitbit. That Fitbit is useless without her phone or a paired device being anywhere nearby, and the only thing that Fitbit will continue to be helpful for is the fact that it will have battery life, it will continue to be transmitting a Bluetooth signal, and it will also be waterproof. These are things that would have definitely been detected today without fail, and they haven't.
By the witness, there's nothing to say she couldn't have been kidnapped and dragged and put in a car and taken away, and someone could have put a mobile phone by the river as a decoy, or Nicola wanted to disappear herself. It just doesn't ring right. The amount of searches that's gone on in this river, the body, if there was a body in there, is no way going to go all the way down to the sea, not with us. That current. I mean, we fish people out all the time of rivers, and they just don't move that far unless the river's in flood. And this river is clearly not in flood. It's not moving fast enough, and it will drift very slightly if a body did. And normally, at this time of year, a body will normally resurface between 6 and 8 days as the body decomposes, it bloats, and the body comes to the surface, it's normally found by dog walkers if they're not found. And that's what I'm surprised about. And it's just they're doing a great job of searching, and that's the police divers. But I'm just wondering why. I mean, we've offered our equipment up there and our expertise, if required, to the family. And if they want it, we could search this river in a day and say Nicola's there or she's not. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so this video was taken a couple of days ago, and in fact, this dive team has actually been on the scene today, as far as I'm aware, and it's been an all-day search, and there's been there's just been no results whatsoever. Just going back to some of the comments, in my opinion, she's not in the river. I do appreciate that, and I actually agree with you. I do not believe that she's in the river either. There are scientific reasons to why she would not be in that river, and the most important fact is that unfortunately it is 10 days later and she would have been found, and a body will simply not travel down a river that far, especially that river itself. It meanders so much, and there's so many bends in that river that you just will not be able to successfully travel down, whether you're dead weight or floating. It's sick, but it's true. We've just got to be realistic about it. This is a really, really weird case that I think it's just a coincidence that she was just next to the river, but she's disappeared. But she's not in that river.
So you think that the police have been clearly quite hasty in coming out with this conclusion?
Yeah, definitely. I've never heard of this. It's a very odd one. I mean, normally the police say we're keeping an open mind, Angela, on this type of case. I think it's a bit foolish coming out that she's gone in the river. Let's look at all the angles here. They'll be looking at cell site analysis with mobile phones. That can take a few days to do. But my big worry is the way it wasn't initially sealed off as a sort of a crime scene, so they could potentially gather more information on this.
Yeah, he's saying that the cops do a great job because he's previously worked with the police very closely and had great results. But I will just say that he has worked with different constabularies, that it may not be the same with every single police force. And this is quite a remote police force. This is a little village. And this is something that they're probably not used to doing. So they're probably not that well equipped to deal with this kind of thing because it's never happened before. Well, it obviously hasn't because we would have known about it, but he's worked with police forces which are on rivers like River Thames and the River Severn, for example, where there are potential drownings quite often, and they absolutely 100% all of the time get results.
Peter, have they actually asked you to come and help them? And, I mean, you clearly would be prepared to do so if they did.
We would do it absolutely free of charge. I mean, we've got millions of pounds worth of equipment. I work with the police every day. We're called in from Kent, Essex, Surrey, Sussex, Thames Valley and Hampshire. We've got the highest hit rate for finding bodies in the country. We would happily go up tomorrow morning and help them search if they come.
And they did that. So one of the comments just has caught my eye. She publicly posted that her walk's the same routine for months and years. Absolutely true. And it probably was. She loved that dog. She walked it every morning after taking the kids to school. Put the dog in the boot of the car, took the kids to school, straight off to walk the dog. And I will just say this, that she went missing on a Friday, Friday the 27th. Look, you only need somebody like a creep to sit and watch her continuously repeat her daily routine identically for only 2 or 3 days to know that on Friday morning she was going to do the same.
I'm not going to turn up. I don't do that. That's unprofessional. If we are contacted by the police, we would do it free of charge for them and help this family find Nicola. At least our equipment, which is the best in the world, could actually scan that river and say, I could say categorically she is not in that river. Very, very quickly.
I agree with you.
Well, look, I mean, let's hope someone takes you up on that. What about if the family asks you to do it privately?
We would, as long as the police gave us permission to attend, because I wouldn't want to. I work with the police every day. You know, they're working extremely hard. It's very, very easily criticising the police. I'm not criticising the police. Some media reports of that. I'm certainly not. But we're offering our equipment to assist with this operation to speed up the search. And I say I've got the high hold the police in the highest regard. But it needs wrapping up, this one, Stephen.
Okay, Chantal, you posted a comment just now. Massily Mandela, someone on one group said someone who liked to post on her Facebook page had axes and knives threatening footy rivals. Interesting.
Could they be... I mean, it's...
I think that's a little bit far-fetched for the moment, but it's nevertheless still something that we should probably...
It's all this speculation, which is very difficult.
Be interested
but the fact that they've come out with a working hypothesis, which, I mean, as you say, and as we know, is very, very strange, the way they've done this. Is there... I mean, are they keeping their powder dry, perhaps, on other things they're looking into?
They will be looking into many other things. They'll be looking at other people within the family. They'll be looking at people who live locally, whether there's any, sex attackers who live locally and things like this. I mean, we don't know. Nicola can be kidnapped and being held somewhere against her will. She might hopefully she'll
Totally
still be
possible.
alive. She may have just wandered off. But it's unusual because I think because they've actually come out and said we believe she's in the river, and then Nicola gets found somewhere else, the media would have a field day with them. So I think it's a bit of a just with a mobile phone by a river, that's not good enough evidence for me. This needs a lot. We need to clear that river, and then that can be ruled out completely, and then the focus can go elsewhere. If she's in the river, I'd be very surprised if she's not. Clearly, if the equipment used, if she's found in that river, has not.
Apparently she stopped social media in December, so maybe she felt watched. Do we have any sort of evidence of that at all? I'd be interested to know a bit more about that, so please keep posting in the chat.
Not been effective.
Okay, so I'm just going to cut in here and now share some of my own thoughts on the information that we know thus far. Now, looking online, almost immediately, we had quite a few people coming out and saying, this doesn't sound right, something seems amiss here, something's not adding up. And I guess I would share that sentiment to some degree. We had the police who came out very early on and said, look, we don't believe that there's a third party involved here. We don't believe this is a crime scene. We believe that this lady has simply fallen into the river, sadly. But over a week later, there's still no body. There's no indication either that this lady has fallen into the river. What I mean by that is there's no marks by the river's edge on the riverbank. There's no sort of disturbed undergrowth or any sort of indication physically that this lady has fallen into that river. Now,
okay, so I checked out her page about an hour ago. I presume this is on Facebook. And there are no recent posts since last year. So are they posts that are publicly shared, or are they posts that are shared with friends and have become public? Because a public profile and a friend's profile are very, very different.
Now, one point of interest that sticks out to me is the mobile phone of Nicola Bulley. Now, we know that that was found on the bench. A lot of people are assuming that this was placed there by Nicola Bulley. Maybe she got into difficulty, or the dog got into difficulty in the river, and she somehow slipped in. But let's try and look at this from a different perspective for one moment. What about if this mobile phone was dropped nearby? Maybe it was dropped in the mud, dropped nearby, but during some kind of struggle potentially. A passerby has then found that mobile phone, and if you do encounter a good Samaritan, shall we say, what's the first thing that they're going to do? They're going to pick that phone up and most likely put it on a bench. Put it somewhere which is visible to someone who may come back later looking for their lost phone.
Okay, let's pause here. So what type of phone was it? That's quite important. We don't even know what type of phone it was. So do we know that, or is that something that I've missed? Do we know what type of phone it was? Because I know that iPhones and Androids do have the ability of sharing emergency information on a lock screen. And also, I know her call to the Teams meeting was still dialed in at that point. So the phone could still be locked. If it was an Android, the phone could still technically be locked and in that Teams meeting. I'm not sure about iPhone in that respect, but I do know if that phone was locked and somebody pressed the home button or the unlock button, it would, depending on whether she had previously set that feature up on her phone to show emergency information. So let's just say a passerby had picked that phone up and unlocked it, and it would had a lost information on the lock screen or not. I'd probably go to say that probably 80-90% of people do not use that feature because of privacy. I think it's a hard gamble to say that somebody had picked that phone up, seeming that there was only 2 witnesses. So we know for sure that there was 3 people in those fields at that point in time. There was 1 witness, there was Nicola, and then a second witness. So yeah, that's difficult for me to understand, because this is the kind of information that I think needs to be released to the public from the police, and they don't do it for obviously many reasons, but there may be reasons that we shouldn't know about.
One indicator which would tell me if that is a possibility is the condition of that mobile phone, but we don't know the condition of that handset. Was it clean? Was it dirty? Did it have mud on it? Did it look like it had been dropped? Sadly, at this point in time, we don't have that information. Another point worthy of mention is the fact that at this point in time, police haven't released any CCTV whatsoever of Nicola Bulley, neither dropping.
So her latest post was something about being sold. You would want that public, of course you would. Could somebody tell me what she was selling? Intrigued. Yeah, if I was selling an RX-5 700, was sharing about my eye issues, I would set it to private. Totally true. I appreciate that. Hang on, somebody just clear up some facts for me here. What was the last post on her Facebook? Pathway next to the gate, 350 metres to the road. That would take away 2 or 3 minutes to carry her to a vehicle. 2 or 3 minutes, about right, yeah. Especially on a fireman's carry. I tell you now, somebody's got a little bit of strength can carry somebody her size and weight in a fireman's carry, dead weight, 350 metres in 3 minutes. Definitely. What is the street called by news experts? Okay. Yeah, about this body. I hate talking about this. It's a horrible thought. A dead body in water. Okay, so in a typical situation, lukewarm water, which we're talking about sort of 12 to 20 degrees. We're talking that body will bloat in 5 to 7 days. In water, that's this cold, it's 7 to 10 days. And very, very, very little more than 10 days. So we would expect to see results by now. And obviously anything more than that, the water's frozen. So quite literally, the body is not moving.
Her children off at school. neither her on her walk or going toward her walk or toward that footpath. Nothing whatsoever, which is a little bit strange. I do find that quite odd. All we seem to have at this point in time are eyewitness accounts. Nothing in terms of CCTV, which they usually release to say, this is what this individual looked like when they disappeared, this is what they were wearing, and being able to demonstrate that, as I say, via CCTV. But that hasn't been released by the police. Which then leads me on to another intriguing question. Why are the police so sure that she fell into the river? Now, my first thought was, well, this area must be
okay,
covered
thanks
by
for confirming the
CCTV.
post. Thank you.
All of the exit routes must have some level of CCTV surveillance potentially, and they can see her going on the walk, but then not returning, not exiting. But if that is the case, and this area is so well surveilled by CCTV, then why has no CCTV footage of Nicola Bulley been released by the police? Now, my initial thoughts during the first few days of this case and this investigation was that this lady most likely did fall into the river. And that's mainly why I haven't created any content thus far on this case, because I just expected to wake up one morning for the sad news, or to the sad news I should say, that this lady's body had been found.
That is exactly the reason why I have not made content about this before, because this is, quite honestly, guys, for me to do a live stream about this kind of content is extremely, extremely rare. I think I've probably done it once before. But this is so baffling. It turns my brain into mush, because you don't just disappear. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this live stream, because it helps me get it off my chest, and it allows other people to get it off their chest as well in the chat. So,
but the longer that this goes on for, I'm starting to believe that there could be something else at play here. It's interesting what that forensic expert stated. He said normally when a person drowns and are left a couple of days, they don't move far, and this is not a fast tidal river. That was Peter Fording who stated that back in that interview that I showed you earlier. Yet we're well over a week into this now. We're not talking about a hugely deep river, a fast flowing river. They've checked 9 miles. 9 miles of this river. Where could this lady be? Does it have something to do with CCTV somewhere? The fact that they have CCTV coverage, as I said earlier, of the exits on her walk, and they've checked that CCTV, they've seen her go on the walk but then disappear, basically. Is that why they are so convinced that she has fallen into the river? One thing that does concern me, and I will say this, is that the way that the police investigation was handled very early on, it's almost like they've got to the scene of the crime, or the scene of the incident, I should say. We don't know if any crime has taken place at this point. But they've got to the scene of this incident, and they've immediately assumed, I would say, that this lady has fallen into the river, based upon maybe the items found on the bench, or as I said earlier, the CCTV of her going on the walk, but then not returning, not exiting, or being seen on CCTV exiting.
okay, just going back to the comments. She's over promoting her mortgage company, lender, right? This is news to me. I didn't know this. I've not previously checked up on her Facebook. I haven't done any of that. I'm just solely working from media. I don't know what to make of that, to be honest, because that's like definitely not something that I would do. And I don't think anybody would really do that. I don't know where this conversation's leading to. I mean, is it an insinuation that she has disappeared by her own means, whether it be by a disappearance or suicide? Not something I'd like to speculate, but as again, this is something that we're going to talk about on this video.
That walk, or ending that walk. But this scene, this incident scene, has been left completely uncovered. It hasn't been cordoned off. It's been accessible to the public, to reporters, to anyone who wants to go and see that bench or search for this individual. search for Nicola Bulley, it hasn't been protected or preserved in any way, shape or form. And that is quite worrying. I mean, logically, there must be a reason here why the police are really sticking to this hypothesis that she fell into the river. There must be something that's telling them that. And the only thing that I can suggest is, as I say, CCTV coverage. I mean, how else could they be so sure and so certain that this individual was not harmed, was not kidnapped, was not taken away somewhere? A lot, as I said earlier, will depend on the evidence which was found at the bench. The harness and the phone. We don't know the condition of those items. Did they have mud on them? Did they look like they'd been dropped, particularly the phone? We know that that phone was still connected to her work call. Did the dog somehow get into trouble? Did she take the harness off? Because that's what she would normally do when the dog went for a swim. For some reason, the dog got into some sort of difficulty. Or maybe Nicola got too close to the edge and fell in. But it's a little bit strange that those items are on the bench.
Yeah, I just want to address something. Suicide absolutely does not make sense. I don't believe that whatsoever. But there are cases, and many cases, where that has been the case. But like you've just said, massively, Mandela, almost as bad as she broke her leg and fell into the river. It's totally possible. Let's just say she broke her leg, fell into the river. Let's just say she fell into the river and banged her head and she was unconscious and drowned. We don't actually know what has happened here. We will find out, but the problem is that it's getting to the point where it's 10 days and it's getting a bit too late, right?
Now that would suggest that she hasn't been caught off guard completely. She's had the presence of mind, if she is there, to put those items on the bench before heading into the water for whatever reason. It's not like she's fallen in with her phone in her hand. But I still think there's a clue here, depending on, as I say, the condition of those items. We can't say, can we, for certain that someone hasn't found those items somewhere else and placed them on the bench, hoping that the owner of those items will later discover them. We don't know if that's a possibility. Anyway, do leave your own thoughts and theories.
Okay, so that was just the first video that I wanted to cover on this stream. And I wanted to bring up a couple of other things which are quite controversial. I would probably expect people to there's been cases in the past where partners have quite literally bold-faced lied to the media face to face on TV about things that have happened to their partner, whether it be in the US or the UK. There are multiple different cases in the past which have turned out a very, very sour way. So what we wanted to do is actually talk about Nicola's partner, because there was a lot of comments a lot earlier and yesterday in regards to Nicola's partner saying that he has something to do with her disappearance. So just out of a community of people, we're going to discuss whether anybody thinks whether this guy is lying or not, and whether you believe everything that he says in this video. I've watched this multiple times and can honestly say to you, this guy is totally genuine. But again, there are cases where even the most cleverest of people on the planet have thought the same and they've been wrong. So, do we really think that Nicola's partner has anything to do with her disappearance?
Anything to say other than what the family said yesterday. My whole focus is my two girls, just staying as strong as I can for them. I'm scared that if I put any focus into anything else, it's going to take my, focus off that. So I've got to be very careful. Just hoping to goodness that anything comes out from the interview yesterday, no matter how tiny. Just say a massive thank you to the community, friends, for everything that that they're doing. It's absolutely incredible. I just can't believe that we're a week on, and as yet, it seems like we're no further on. It just seems absolutely impossible. Just like a dream. Just cannot get my head around any of it.
I mean, you're left sort of trying to make sense of the census, aren't you? It is just such a mystery.
Yeah, it is. There's just no every single scenario comes to a brick wall. Every single one of them.
Okay, the thing that bothers me about this guy is, in a good way, he's got no pre-prepared sentences, which is why, in hesitation, he is saying what he is saying, which to me shows that he's actually not lying. But again, that is just an opinion of mine. Some people may share that, some people may not. What bothers me is that this guy is madly in love with this woman, married, kids, and she's been missing by this point. She's been missing for 6 days, and it doesn't look. I've been through some harsh things in time and not cried, but for that to happen to me would absolutely devastate me, and I wouldn't sleep, I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't drink, I would be crying my freaking arse off, and my eyes would be bright red. Okay, I'm just saying that. But that's just me and not him. But again, he's got no pre-prepared sentences, which I believe a liar must do to try and cover their acts.
And then all we're doing is sitting there going round and round and round, going through every scenario, and then go back to the first scenario again and do the whole thing again, and it's just all day long. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
Again, going back to comment from Kerry just now. How dare he actually laugh? Let's just look at that again.
And it's just all day long. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
How are you coping?
Going back again.
And do the whole thing again, and it's just all day long. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing.
How are you coping? It must be so difficult. Like you say, your focus is on the girls, and it has to be. But
doesn't look good for him. That doesn't.
I don't know how I'm coping. I don't even want to actually think about that. Just.
This is really what bothers me. Really, really bothers me. When he says, I don't know how I'm coping, watch his eyes look up to the sky. This is what is another continuously scientific proven fact that somebody is lying.
I don't know how I'm coping. I don't even want to actually think about that.
He looks up to the sky.
Focus, just like I say,
because
about the girls, that's it. I'm there for them. I don't want to.
I don't like that part of this interview, but overall, I do believe he is genuine. I will say that.
Response, hundreds of people trying to help.
It's amazing. It is right now. It's the only thing that we can take is, that level of support is out of this world. It gives us a great amount of comfort knowing that that's going on. They don't have anything else, do we?
Well, there's hope.
We're never ever going to lose the hope. Of course we're not. But right now, it is as though she has vanished into thin air. Just insane.
It's just insane. It's just insane. It's a difficult choice of words to use. That is just insane. Very, very strange. I mean, look. In the last 20 years, we've seen some of the craziest murderers on the planet into being interviewed on TV face to face like this, and they've had body language which is absolutely totally different to this guy, which is why I'm actually on the fence, but more slightly to believe that this guy is genuine. I feel like he's trying to hold it together for the sake of what is going on, and he's in front of a freaking camera, and these things are like massive bulgy things right in front of your face, and you've got to just get a grip and just do what you got to do and say what you got to say. So putting that aside, and let's just say that wasn't the case and he was just being interviewed off camera, if he had the same body language, then he would definitely be lying. So what I'm trying to say here in a strange roundabout way is that you've got to have some sort of preparation for what you're about to do. And I think under stress and pressure that he's under, whether he's involved or not, that preparation does show. But his choice and his stuttering of response isn't quite what I would feel as genuine. So I will just declare I am on the fence with this guy, but I am still, I just feel sorry for him, because if he is genuine, then I do genuinely feel really sorry for him. And I don't want to insinuate that this guy is absolutely lying when it turns out in a couple of days that he's really not lying. I don't want to look like a freaking idiot. I'm just going by what I'm looking at, and
My whole fam.
like one of the comments a minute ago about him laughing, that does bother me. But he's also doing that laughter to hide tears, I reckon. Again, I might be wrong. It's very, very hard to read somebody's body language like this. Even experts will still fail to do so. So, the sister's interview is just as sus as well. The sister laughs as well. Okay. The sister laughs as well. Please watch the sister interview. All right, we're going to check that out. Just give me a second. So I'm just going to leave you with a little Google Earth image of the disappearance site. Whilst I find all of this. So we're stuck in a nightmare, and yeah, I've already got that one actually lined up, so I'll get rid of the partner for the moment. I've got some footage of the dive team actually going in there today.
I just can't.
Okay, so I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that this is the video we're talking about.
I just can't. If I'm being honest, it feels like I'm just stuck in a nightmare. We're going round and round in circles trying to piece together what could have possibly happened. And we've just got to keep such an open mind with everything, because we just have no idea where she is. It's like she's just vanished into thin air. There's no evidence to point us in any direction. Obviously, my hope is that she's still out there. Something's happened and she's, I don't know, needed to take herself off for whatever reason, and we just want a home. We need to
take herself off for whatever reason. You're saying that like there is a reason.
It's just
that bothers me.
Absolutely heartbreaking.
Only for you, what's the last week been like as a father?
It's been very difficult. As from last Friday morning to date, it's just been so painful. We're such a close-knit family. We talk to each other, both our children, Louise and Nicola, and the children every day. There's not a day goes by without talking to them. And this has just emptied our lives at the minute. We just feel so empty. We appreciate everything that everyone's doing to find her. The police have been brilliant. The local community has been outstanding. And it's just comforting from that point of view. But at the end of the day, we just want her back.
On that point, you know, the community spirit has been unbelievable in a very small village. How much has that helped you, knowing that people have come from far and wide to help look for your daughter?
Massive. It's been massive. We've really appreciated it, and everyone that's been involved doing the sweep search of the fields, etc. It's just given us hope that someone might find something that could give us that little clue to what might have happened.
We just need something. We're nearly a week on tomorrow, and
I'm just going to pause the video here. I'm just going to go back 10 seconds. Just appreciate for 1 second how immediate her response was after her father stopped speaking. Just listen.
we just need
That could give us that little clue to what might have happened.
we just need something. We're nearly a week on tomorrow, and
Didn't even allow the person who was asking the questions for the sake of the interview to ask her a question. She just went straight in there.
and we're just going around in circles. It's like something's got to have been missed. There's got to be, somebody must know something. Somebody must know. People don't just vanish into thin air. There's got to be somebody that knows something. And all we are asking, no matter how small or big, if there's anything that you can remember that just doesn't seem right, then please reach out to the police. Please just get in touch and get my sister back.
I was going to ask you that, Lou. What is it you want to say to people watching this?
To the police, please just get in touch and
Is that the laugh?
get my sister back.
I was going to ask you that, Lou. What is it you want to say to people watching this, wherever they're sat, wherever they're watching?
She did immediately. She immediately showed instant regret for making that laugh. Watch.
And get my sister back.
I was going to ask you that, Lou. What is?
She showed signs, facial expressions of instant regret. So I don't believe at this point in time. I think that was a laugh of desperation rather than anything else. Just saying. Again, could be wrong. Just an opinion. But it's not something you can even consider laughing at, I suppose. So I'm not too sure what people are trying to speculate with her making this laugh. If somebody wants to put that in the chat before I say it, be my guest.
And get my sister back.
I was going to ask you that, Lou. What is it you want to say to people watching this, wherever they're sat, wherever they're watching from, on their phones, on the tellies? What do you want to say to people in order to help you?
Well, just if anybody knows anything, just let us know. Just, Nikki, if you're bloody out there, just let us know that you're okay. We can sort anything out. We just want you home. We just want you home.
Yeah, my approach to this is that.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go back and watch that once more.
Nikki, if you're bloody out there, just let us know that you're okay. We can sort anything out. We just want you home. We just want you home.
Yeah,
And she goes from laughing to seriousness very quickly. Don't like that.
Bloody out there, just let us know that you're okay. We can sort anything out. We just want you home. We just want you home.
Yeah, my approach to this is.
Can I just say, this is only speculation, guys. This is not trying to point a finger at anybody. This is just speculation.
Or anything that they might have seen, doesn't matter how significant it is. If it's something that they think might not be interesting, it could be, and inform the police that that they've seen something. But the main thing is that you know, we want to find Nicola, get her back home. There's 2 young children there waiting for their mummy to come back. And we feel that we want her back, obviously, also. But, you know, if Nicola is out there, if she is watching this, then all we'd like to say is just come home, contact the police, contact ourselves, and we just want you back.
One thing I'm covering.
All right, there's things being put in the chat, which I'm more than happy to see people being open about, but we've just got to get our head around one simple fact here, is that there is a missing 45-year-old woman, and she has disappeared with no trace whatsoever, to the point where we think she's gone into a river, and if she's not in that river, and we categorically can tell the world that she is not in this river, it only means one other thing, and that's the fact that she has been abducted. And we do not still know at this point that she is absolutely not in that river. It has been searched by some of the most talented divers and search teams in the world today, and they have not found anything. To me, that makes me feel as though she's not in that river. So she has been abducted. To abduct her from the position that she was in without a trace means to say that the pre-planning was so perfect in many ways that they already had a end point for her disappearance, of which we will find that out, because you cannot get away with that in 2023. You've not been able to get away with that for many, many years in the UK, unless there has been circumstances that are completely unexpected, and I don't believe that those unexpected circumstances are playing a role in this case. If she's been abducted, we'll find her, or the culprit. Look, this is just weird. Some of the stuff that is being insinuated in the chat, I'm totally open to, about her sister, etc., and that she was staying at Paul's house, etc., looking after the kids. Look, whether this is a new thing just because of what's going on, or whether this is a thing that's been going on for a long time and it was something that was kept very secret or whatnot, whether he or she has anything to do with this, that is something that I find very difficult to get my head around. But it is totally a valid point of conversation, because we have seen cases in the past where this has totally been the case and has shocked the world. So look, we're 10 days into this, no body found, no trace. So speculations run wild, and I think that's only right that they should
Bring this story and speaking to people right at the very heart of it, and everyone harks back to this, is that there are 2 beautiful girls at home, Nikki's kids. You know, how difficult is that, knowing that her daughters are there without a mum?
It's obviously their little minds are trying to process. They don't really understand. None of us understand, to be honest. But we've just got to try, and when there's children involved, you have to carry on. You've got to get through every day, and that's all we're trying to do.
Caravan park. Let's have a look at this. Where's this caravan park, guys? Point me in the direction here. This is where she went missing. So I presume they don't look like caravans or static homes. So I This is all new to me. So where's this caravan park that everybody talks about? Because somebody mentioned that... Oh, hang on. Are they static homes? The only suggestion then is she never left that house and the CCTV is edited. That's pretty freaking hard to do, to be honest. Look, I'm going to say absolutely no way that CCTV of her leaving home that morning was edited. The police would have picked up on that straight away, as I would have as well, because you cannot... look, doorbell cameras are very, very much 97% uploaded to cloud. Whether it be video footage or screenshots, the logs are definitely cloud uploaded. For these to be accessible means to say they've got an internet connection, so they are cloud uploaded. The police will know that for absolute fact, whether they were edited or not. These were not images taken from an SD card or anything like that, because the type of doorbell that she had did not have that function. It was a cloud-based doorbell camera, totally and utterly real CCTV from the morning she went missing. But the CCTV was not working on the pathway. Okay, so she walks down this path. Okay, and I don't know whether she crosses. So she crosses this bridge. She literally crosses this bridge, right? Can we even just go and have a look? Go on, take us right in to... She crosses this bridge. She walks up this road. Okay, she walks up here. She crosses this bridge. She walks across the bridge and down this pathway. Okay. And she takes this whole path straight across there. She doesn't go here. Maybe the dog... Maybe the dog went on a little run around here. We don't know. But nevertheless, she was spotted by another dog walker who was about at this location. Guys, I want to know where this caravan park is. Here we go. I found it. Sorry guys, I had to put on the places. So, Wyeside Caravan Park. Okay. That was what I thought it was then. And this place is what? Wyeside Farm Park. Yeah, they're not even open. They claim that they're not even open. Okay. But whatever CCTV cameras you've got there are actually potentially looking to the point of where her entry point was to the footpath from the bridge. Which means a CCTV camera would be basically... Well, look, it's as simple as this. This is the path. There's a gate there which has been on the news. We've seen that on the news. That goes into that track. unless there's CCTV on this corner, on this, looking at the back here, you're not going to see through them trees. Impossible. You're not going to see anywhere through this direction. In fact, that entire tree coverage there would not show any results on CCTV. None of these houses would. So the only CCTV that would be any good would be something that's either here or here, looking at this entrance to cars driving in there. And there's a hedgerow at the back of this building which would totally hide any CCTV images of anybody walking up the back there, unless there was potentially a garden camera, or what I would consider a garden camera that would catch a glimpse of somebody walking through the trees to what I would say is what, here, right? Her friend said if the CCTV was working, it would have recorded everything. Which CCTV are we talking about? Caravan park, house, or school, or what exactly? But to be honest, guys, be all and end all is that you're really not gonna fall into this river, even if it was during storm force 10. You're not really going to fall into that river and it cause a problem unless you're unconscious. If you're unconscious and you are taken down river this direction, you are simply not going to make it past the bend. You're just not going to make it past. You wouldn't even make it this far. You would probably be lucky to get down this straight. Maybe at a very, very push, a very good push of water would get you to here, but no further than that. And we can see here that there is actually such shallow water that riverbed shows through the water level. There is no way a body, unconscious, dead or alive, is going to float down that river at all. No way. She's not in that river, guys. I firmly believe that. If somebody wants to give me some absolute scientific reason to why they believe that she is definitely in that river, then please go ahead and do that. But regardless of police searches, regardless of anything, I just don't believe that physics allows that. I just don't. There's a site named Divine Pods somewhere might have took her. Yeah. Divine Pods is here, I believe. Divine Camping Pods. So this is possibly an older camping pods. I mean, are they classed as glamping pods? Like smart sheds sort of thing, they're quite literally like not tents or static caravans, but glamping pods, camping pods. So yeah, I mean, this is an older image, satellite image, so it's potentially possible that they have got camping pods there right now, which I can't really see unless these are them here under the trees that we can't really make out. I'm not too sure. Yeah, it's new. Okay, fair enough. Okay, it is very, very weird. So the only other thing that I wanted to show tonight was the footage of the diving team that we were talking about earlier on, that was interviewed on Sky News and Great Britain News and BBC News. The guy from that diving team, he went there with his team and all of his equipment early this morning, and here is the footage of them doing so.
If we can't find her in the next 3 or 4 days in this river, if she's not here, then I'm confident she's not in this stretch of river. I'd be very confident of that. The police, they're doing the right thing. The clear evidence is the phone was by the river, the dog harness was by the river. So I think that's their only clue at the moment, and we've got to be able to eliminate this river so we can either confirm or deny what's in here today.
Why is there a GoFundMe set up? I don't understand why there's a GoFundMe set up. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, GoFundMe for what? I mean, there's like 100% of the funding and the power of the police put into this. A GoFundMe for what? Let's just go back to somebody else's comment. What's this, to pay off a mortgage or what? I mean, what is this kind of speculation? It's ridiculous. But at the same time, there is actually a GoFundMe set up for her. That's weird. In more ways than one to me. Look, if the GoFundMe is set up to help support the kids, perfectly fine. And I think that's great. But a GoFundMe for her, or what's going on around this in an adult's world, I don't believe this is. I mean, look, if this is a GoFundMe to spoil the kids, to keep these little kids happy about them losing their mother, I think that's amazing. GoFundMe target was 100k, then quickly changed to 50k. Wow. Actually, I will just say something about this. Yes, Sam Jones, it's not there now, GoFundMe. So let me just I just want to check on this real quick. I actually heard something earlier that was on actually a regional news channel on BBC talking about this, and there has been multiple GoFundMe and Patreon sites set up, and they are believed to be scams trying to make money out of the disappearance. So I can totally appreciate that if these are not legit, they have been removed. 100%. 110% she's upstream, in my opinion. Upstream from the bench, possibly, but she's definitely not floated upstream. It's not possible. Unless she was put there. Again, speculation. But 110% she is not in that river. Absolutely. I totally agree. She is definitely not in that river. I feel personally, this is just my personal opinion, that after today, I've waited until today to do this live stream because I know just how different the technology is that has been used today to try and find her in that river is so much more advanced, 40 times more advanced realistically than the technology that the police use, which is paid by the taxpayer. This is multi-million pound equipment that has been used today. They would have absolutely have found her today, and if not, if they do another search tomorrow, if she is in that river, she will be found tomorrow. If she is not found tomorrow, she is absolutely not in that river. 200% not in that river. The thing that then bothers me and everybody is the fact that it can only lead to one other possibility, and that is the fact that she has been kidnapped So we're just going to quickly just recap on her mobile phone. We don't have information to know whether the phone was locked or unlocked. We do not know whether the phone was dirty or wet, or we don't know whether that phone was physically placed by another passerby, or it was put there as a decoy by a kidnapper. Nevertheless, until we've got that kind of information, which I don't think we'll ever get, to be honest, there is a couple of things that we need to think about. So first of all, the police would obviously check the phone for other fingerprints, which is not going to happen. It's a cold morning, out walking the dog. Let's say a passerby had picked that phone up and put it somewhere in view for that person to come and collect their phone that was lost. Most likely, if they're out at that time of the morning, it's cold, they're walking a dog, they're going to be wearing gloves to keep warm. And second being, if you are a kidnapper and you're going to quite literally take somebody silently, you're probably going to be wearing gloves also. Because if they're clever enough to be able to kidnap somebody like this in speculation, then they are definitely clever enough to wear gloves. It's really as simple as that. I really can't say much more than that, and I don't think anybody else can. So let's have a look at some of these comments. So Lancashire police will want her in the river. I totally agree. They do, because they've already released a public statement to say that they believe that she's gone into the river, and they're going to look like complete arseholes if she's not in that river. Regardless whether she's found dead or alive, there are going to be inquiries into why this was not absolutely cut off as a crime scene from the first minute that she was recorded as missing, rather than people just trampling over a crime scene. That's going to be another issue. There'll be scams getting on the bandwagon. Yep, I heard that earlier on, even on a news channel, to say that there's been lots of pages being closed down from scamming, taking money. There was also a PayPal account that was closed down, which had already received £14,000 in donations to help in the search. And there was also a Buy Me a Coffee page closed down, which took £700 in regards to people being a part of the search. Okay, not good. I don't know why people do that kind of stuff. Anyway, guys, I haven't really got much more to add at this point on this stream, so I'm going to call this stream to an end. But tomorrow, depending on what the news brings us, I probably might do another stream in regards to this if there's anything new involved. So if you guys, look, I'm not asking you guys to subscribe. As I say, this is not the typical kind of video that I kind of stream. I'm much more of a gamer rather than somebody that gets into news and politics and stuff like that. So if you don't subscribe, then just simply at the same time tomorrow, just search and you'll find me doing a live, and we'll go from there. But as of right now, thank you for joining the stream and thank you for watching, and thanks to everybody and all your speculation in the comments.